Fine. Okay. So good evening. Yesterday in our newspaper analysis, we had discussed about a topic called SAR exercise, which is nothing but special intensive revision exercise. Now the linked topic here to that article is that Bengal electorate shrinks 12% as 27 lakh out after judicial review. Basically, when we had discussed yesterday, we told that there are allegations from the opposition parties that voters of the Trinamool Congress and these opposition parties are being removed by the Election Commission. Then Supreme Court told that since you are having doubt, we will be sending our judicial officers. Judicial officers వచ్చిన తర్వాత కూడా 27 lakh people బయటికి వెళ్ళిపోయారు అని చెప్పి. This is the thing. Now this is no way important for our exam. Only thing important for our exam is the discussion we had yesterday with regarding to that, sir, that this hasn't been happened, this is being happened earlier, but this was stopped in 2002 and from then again we are starting now. Okay, next. This is the most important article. Without this we won't be having any question in this year prelims or the next year prelims. Very very important thing for India, a critical leap for Kalpakam, this prototype fast breeder reactor. We will see this in detail after seeing the remaining topics. A civilization will die in Iran if deal not accepted, says Trump on deadline day. A civilization will die in Iran if deal not accepted, says Trump on deadline day. Em jarigindante we had discussed yesterday about the issue of Gulf crisis currently, Strait of Hormuz blockade and all. Trump yesterday morning had warned Iran that if you are not stopping this war currently and if you are not opening the Strait of Hormuz, then I am going to use nuclear weapon. Nuclear weapon is very very harmful for the world. When we will be discussing our science and technology classes, we will see in detail about that nuclear technology. Now just thing, you might have heard about Hiroshima, Nagasaki. Because of the usage of the nuclear weapon, the people in Japan are facing problem even now. Many genetical problems and many issues are there over there. Now nuclear weapons will be highly problematic. Entire country will be devastated because of that. He had warned them. Now in the evening, Pakistan had brokered a deal between Iran and USA. Now a ceasefire has been announced for 2 weeks. Now in the late night jarigindi. Now danvalla ఈ హిందూ పేపర్ పబ్లిష్ అయ్యే టైంకి మార్నింగ్ 3 o'clock 4 o'clock this hadn't happened. Later on this was concluded in the early hours of today, so that's why this hasn't been reported here. So what is the final outcome today? The war in Iran versus Israel will be stopped for 2 weeks. Strait of Hormuz will be opened. Now Trump had tweeted and told that Iran had submitted 10 proposals and they are ready to accept them. In these 2 weeks we'll be having discussion on this and we'll be having end of all these things. This will lead to peace in Middle East. Now you might have heard about the word called as Middle East, West Asia. What is the difference between both of them? Middle East, West Asia antam kada. What is the difference between both of them? Then why we are using two different words if both are same? Yeah, good evening Monica. If both are same, I am asking why we are using different words. The reason is that say this is Asia, Australia, Africa. Here we are having this Middle East and Europe. Here we are having North America, South America. Now if we look at this region from the prism of USA, it is Middle East. In the eastern side it is middle. If we will be looking from the prism of India, it is west for us, West Asia. So when India will be using, we will be using the word West Asia. When USA will be using, that will be used in the form of Middle East. Now the thing is that we know that USA is one of the major superpower after disintegration of USSR 1991. Soviet Union anta పోయిన తర్వాత from 1991 to 2008 USA is a single superpower. సో మొత్తం ఇంటర్నేషనల్ ఫారెన్ పాలసీ మొత్తం అంతా కూడా USA చెప్పినట్టు నడిచేది. సో even we used to use the word Middle East instead of West Asia. Of late since 2013-14 we started using the word West Asia. Okay, and in fact we also had a policy for our relations with West Asia called as Look West policy. We'll be seeing these things in our IR. Okay, now the thing is that for 2 weeks there is a ceasefire, అంటే గొడవలు ఏవి జరగవు అన్నట్టు. After 2 weeks we have to see what will happen in the future. Okay, now this is about that. Next, Supreme Court begins review of 2018 Shabarimala judgment. Now what is the issue? This is also very, very important. First of all, you need to know what is meant by Shabarimala judgment. I hope all of you know about Shabarimala. Now Shabarimala is a temple of Ayyappa Swami. Now Ayyappa Swami is considered as an Ajanma Brahmachari. Now because of that, women in the menstrual age between 15 to 55 years are generally not allowed into the temple. Right, you might have heard this from the childhood itself. Women in the menstrual period time, they are not allowed into the and for the entry into the Shabarimala temple. Now what had happened, a group of a association called as Indian Angle Lawyers Association had filed a case in the Supreme Court. This is famously called as the Shabarimala judgment. In the Shabarimala judgment, Supreme Court allowed that women of any age can go to the Shabarimala. Now why they had done this? If you know, under Article 14 and Article 15 we are having right to equality. Now oka gender ni base cheskoni, now under Article 15 it is clearly mentioned that prohibition of discrimination on the basis of religion, race, caste, sex or place of birth. So sex pair cheppukoni we cannot discriminate here. If we are not allowing women and allowing men, అది discrimination కదా. So since it is against the fundamental right, we know that fundamental rights cannot be violated. This has been questioned by these group of lawyers, and that has been came into the purview of Supreme Court. Now Supreme Court had given in this a landmark judgment in this Shabarimala judgment saying that women can go. మరి అది కరెక్టేనా? Whether women going into the these things? Now the thing is that here we will be having a discussion about customary morality or social morality versus constitutional morality. Very, very important topic for your polity. Every year we will be seeing questions in these things in both prelims and mains. Now issue enti ante, see, even if a Supreme Court is telling, will many of these staunch Hindu believers will go? Obviously not, because the reason is that Ayyappa Swami is considered as an brahmachari. That's why women won't be going over there. Now that is as per the customs of Hindu tradition. Now societal morals, these Hindu customs are not allowing women into the Shabarimala judgment. Either Supreme Court ఏం చేసింది, that is customary morality or social morality. Now constitutional morality ఏం చెప్తుంది, that means constitutional values ఏం చెప్తున్నాయి, gender equality must be maintained under Article 14 and 15. In this judgment, Supreme Court clearly told that in any case, constitutional morality is always supreme than societal morality. That's why it is allowed for women to go over there. Now, ikkada question enti ante, many Hindu groups won't be accepting it. In fact, even many women won't be going because they will feel that that is some type of papam or apacharam jarigindi ani cheppi. Now, the thing arises here is that what is correct? Whether women should be allowed or not to allowed. Now there are no legal restrictions now because Supreme Court and the government itself telling that people should go. In this is considered as a landmark judgment for upholding the fundamental rights of the women, upholding the gender equality, where Supreme Court clearly says that constitutional morality is always greater than societal morality or customary morality. Now in fact there is a UPSC essay on this topic called as customary morality. Okay, now customs follow wala udda anna cheppina oka debate, this understood this thing. Now along with that, India is a secular country. Everyone has their beliefs. Now, who is Supreme Court to involve in this? Who is Supreme Court in involving in this? Now, this comes from earlier judgment in 1950s called as Shirur Mutt case. You need to quote all these judgments and all in your polity answers to fetch more marks in GS2. Now, this Shirur Mutt case, see, now if this is the case, Muslim women must also be entered into mosques.
Yes, sir.
Right? So, there are many other cases. Right? Say, in the Christianity also, there are some more things like this. So, there are discriminations in every religion. Why only to the Hinduism? These are debates like this. And further, asala Supreme Court evaru idi anta question cheyadaniki. Now, in a judgment called as, obviously, Supreme Court will or government will not be involving in any type of religion. Because we are a secular nation, people have the rights to follow any religion. But if the practices which are being followed by the people are not good, then it is the right of the government or the Supreme Court to involve in that religious affairs and remove them. This type of secularism is called as active secularism. We are not telling that government won't be involved in the religion. We are telling that if there are any wrong practices in the religion, we will be removing them. For example, triple talaq is a wrong practice in Islam. You know about triple talaq? Triple talaq means, say for example, whether you know or not, I am asking. Yeah, then if you do not know, you will be asking me, then I can tell right. Now, triple talaq means that as per Islamic religion, if a woman is there, now a couple is there, if male is telling her talaq, talaq, talaq 3 times, this is equal to divorce. Now, this is a discriminatory practice. In the same manner, women cannot do this. Similarly, in Jainism, we have a practice called sallekana, which is fasting unto the death. చనిపోయేంత వరకు ఫాస్టింగ్ చేస్తారు. This is also wrongful practice. Now, Supreme Court had banned and government had banned this Sallekana, government had banned this triple talaq. Similarly, in Hinduism, we used to have sati, that has been banned, that is also wrongful practice. So, ఏది గవర్నమెంట్ రెగ్యులేట్ చేయొచ్చు, ఏది గవర్నమెంట్ రెగ్యులేట్ చేయకూడదు అనే విషయం కోసం అని చెప్పి ఇన్ ది షురూర్ మట్ కేస్ సుప్రీం కోర్ట్ హ్యాడ్ గివెన్ ఎ డాక్ట్రైన్ కాల్డ్ యాజ్ డాక్ట్రైన్ ఆఫ్ ఎసెన్షియాలిటీ. Doctrine of essentiality. Ante if whether a practice must be followed or not, a practice in a specific religion must be continued or not అని చెప్పి in this Shirur Mutt case, Supreme Court had given a judgment called as Doctrine of Essentiality. Deentoni there had arrived a new word called as essential religious practices. And if these religious practices are there, if that religious practice is not there, ఆ రిలీజియన్ అనేది ఇంకా అంతమైపోతుంది. ఆ రిలీజియస్ ప్రాక్టీస్ ఏదైతే ఫాలో అవుతున్నారో, ఇప్పుడు ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ ట్రిపుల్ తలాక్ అనేది లేకపోతే ఇస్లాం అంతమైపోతుంది అనుకోండి, దెన్ గవర్నమెంట్ వోంట్ బి ఇన్వాల్వ్డ్ ఇన్ ఇట్. ఇఫ్ అది తీసేసినా సరే ఇస్లాం అనేది ఏమీ అవ్వదు అనుకోండి, దెన్ దట్ విల్ బి రిమూవ్డ్ ఇఫ్ దర్ ఈస్ ఎనీ ప్రాబ్లమ్ అసోసియేటెడ్ విత్ ఇట్. నౌ వెన్ కోటింగ్ అబౌట్ దిస్ శబరిమల జడ్జ్మెంట్, సుప్రీం కోర్ట్ టోల్డ్ దట్ ఉమెన్ ఎంట్రీ చేసినంత మాత్రాన హిందూయిజం ఏమీ podu. So this is not an essential religious practice. So there is no wrong if we are allowing women. In the same case, during the triple talaq also they had told the same thing. This is not an essential religious practice of Jainism, of Islam, so we can remove it. So basically all these amounts to the debate that secularism in India is an active secularism. Government will be involved, not passive secularism as we see in Western nations where government and the church or the government and the religion is completely separated. We will be involving on case to case basis. That is called as active secularism or principled distance model. More into it you will be seeing in your polity. Okay, understood. Mainly to promote the gender equality and fundamental rights of the women. Okay, next. Straight news, everything is. as I mentioned, until elections, everything will be politics. Now, why we are discussing this about Sabarimala judgment? Now, the judgment which have been given earlier had been questioned again. Now, in this Supreme Court begins review of 2018 Sabarimala judgment. అంటే ఒక్కసారి ఇచ్చిన జడ్జిమెంట్ ని మళ్ళీ మార్చొచ్చు కూడా. There are number of instances where Supreme Court had reviewed its own judgment. Now, many groups are questioning the earlier judgment. Hinduism లోకి ఎలాగా వస్తారు అని చెప్పి. Now, discussions are going on this. Now, again discussions have been started. Okay. We had discussed yesterday about this women's reservation. An editorial had come in today's paper regarding that. Vikram Misri, he is an IFS officer, foreign service officer. He is currently foreign secretary of India. He is going to visit USA currently. Now, war waivers and trade pact will be on the list of Misri's US agenda. Now, since Vikram Misri is going to USA now, we will be having discussion about the ongoing war. Now, earlier, if you know, we had signed a free trade agreement with some nations. First of all, free trade agreement ante enti ante, see, when we will be selling a product of Andhra Pradesh in Telangana, there won't be any type of additional tax. Normal tax will be applicable entire country, called as GST, indirect tax. Now, if we are importing any good from any foreign country, say China, Thailand, Philippines, anything, an additional duty called as customs duty will be imposed on that. This is also an indirect tax. Direct and indirect tax you will be getting in your economy. E customs duty edaithe undo, now say for example they are getting a product into, say a textile had been brought into India from Thailand for 500 rupees. Now on that, since they are importing, we will be imposing an customs duty. Say the customs duty is 10%. So this will be costing 50 rupees. Now in India, if the cost of the good is 500, will anyone buy this? No, right? So they will be buying domestic goods only. So now when we are importing those things, same is the case that if India is exporting, those will be also imposing their customs duties. Now because of that, trade between the countries will not be going properly. So మనం ఏం చేస్తున్నామంటే, we want to sign an agreement called as free trade agreement between different nations. Say for example, India recently signed a free trade agreement with Oman. దాని మీనింగ్ ఏంటి, ఒమాన్ నుండి ఏమైతే గూడ్స్ వస్తాయో we will be having detailed discussion on it, and we will be writing that on all these goods which we are getting from Oman, we will be imposing zero customs duty. On all the goods which India will be sending over there, they will be imposing zero customs duty. So మన ప్రొడక్ట్స్కి అక్కడ డిమాండ్ వస్తుంది, అక్కడ ప్రొడక్ట్స్కి ఎక్కడ డిమాండ్ వస్తుంది, మ్యూచువల్ బెనిఫిట్. The agreement which will be signed consisting of what all the products the concessions will be given, how much concession will be given, 10% customs కాకుండా 2% చేయొచ్చు. All these reductions and all will be mentioned in an agreement called as free trade agreement. Now only thing is that, for example, if we are signing a free trade agreement with Oman, our goods will be getting more export market. Now when we are exporting more things, we require more production. More production means more GDP and more employment, more industries, everything will be beneficial. So crowding in of industries, multiplier effect, everything will be developed. Now with that idea, we want to sign more free trade agreements. With this, what we had done recently, we had signed a free trade agreement with Australia, New Zealand, Oman, European Union, UK, all these in the last 2 years. Along with them, we had signed a free trade agreement with a grouping called as European Free Trade Associations, which has 4 nations called as SLIN nations: Switzerland, Liechtenstein, Iceland, and Norway. Now we had also signed a free trade agreement with USA. Now this is not a full free trade agreement, we had signed an interim agreement. ఇంకా మొత్తం ఫైనలైజ్ అవ్వలేదు. నౌ ట్రంప్ ఈజ్ నాట్ ఆన్ హిస్ వర్డ్స్ యాక్చువల్లీ, దట్స్ వై దిస్ అగ్రిమెంట్ హ్యాజంట్ బీన్స్ ఫైనలైజ్డ్. అర్థమైందా? నౌ వెన్ విక్రమ్ మిశ్రీ ఈజ్ గోయింగ్ వీ విల్ బీ ఫైనలైజింగ్ ఆన్ దట్ ఈస్ దిస్ ఆర్టికల్ అబౌట్. అర్థమైందా? ఫ్రీ ట్రేడ్ అగ్రిమెంట్ ఏదైతే మనం సైన్ చేయబోతున్నామో విల్ బీ హ్యావింగ్ ఓవరాల్ డిస్కషన్స్ ఆన్ దట్. నెక్స్ట్, yesterday we had also seen opposition failed to provide proof of charges against CEC. Yesterday we had seen in detail how CEC and other CEC will be removed in our country. We had seen that they will be removed exactly as per the Supreme Court judge under Article 124 of 2. రైట్, ఆ 124లో ఏదైతే ప్రాసెస్ మెన్షన్ చేసిందో, లోక్సభలో 100 మెంబర్స్, రాజ్యసభలో 50 మెంబర్స్, దెన్ స్పీకర్ విల్ బీ టేకింగ్ ఇన్ ద లోక్సభ, చైర్మన్ విల్ బీ టేకింగ్ కేర్ ఇన్ ది రాజ్యసభ. ఇవన్నీ మనం నిన్న చూసాం, జస్ట్ అన్ ఎక్స్టెన్షన్ టు దట్. రైట్, బట్ ది థింగ్ విచ్ వీ హ్యాడ్ డిస్కస్ యెస్టర్డే విల్ బీ వెరీ వెరీ ఇంపార్టెంట్ ఫర్ ఎగ్జామ్. ఓకే, నెక్స్ట్, ఎలక్షన్స్. Fast breeder nuclear reactor at Kalpakam takes critical leap forward. So what is this? As I mentioned, this is very very important. For sure we are going to get a question on it. Asalu ide enti ante, see, nuclear energy is very very important. Nuclear energy is very very important because compared to మనకి ఇప్పుడు ఎలక్ట్రిసిటీ ఇదంతా ఎలా వర్క్ అవుతుంది, we are getting from coal, thermal power. But there is problem with thermal power. It will release carbon emissions వల్ల carbon dioxide and all, SOx, NOx are greenhouse gases. Greenhouse gases will lead to global warming. Right, global warming is very harmful for us. We will be having many disasters with respect to global warming, sea level rise, flooding, heat waves. All these will be increased a lot. Climate change will be coming, and now to avoid all these things we need to replace ourselves from this thermal power to another energy mode. Now the another energy mode could be solar, wind, hydel. Now this nuclear power could also be one of the very important mode. Endukante this nuclear power, say take the case of solar power cannot be produced during night time. Wind power cannot be produced if wind speed is not sufficient, but that is not the case with nuclear power. So we want to focus a lot on nuclear energy. In nuclear energy focus cheyadaniki we will have detailed discussion of around 4 to 5 hours in our science and classes. Now briefly to understand this article here, see, nuclear energy in our country will be generated through in anywhere will be produced through two methods, nuclear fission and nuclear fusion. Nuclear fusion is not a reality in anywhere in the world. Nuclear fission we are producing. Now in the total electricity being produced every day in our country is 530 gigawatt. In this 8.78 gigawatt is coming from nuclear. That means just 1.5%. It is very very less. Now we want to increase it. Our target is to increase to 100 gigawatt by 2047. This is mentioned in our nuclear energy mission, which is announced in budget 25-26. రైట్, సో న్యూక్లియర్ ఎనర్జీని ప్రమోట్ చేయాలనుకున్నాం. నౌ ప్రాబ్లం ఏంటి అంటే, న్యూక్లియర్ ఎనర్జీని మనం చేయాలి అని అంటే, న్యూక్లియర్ ఎనర్జీని ప్రమోట్ చేయాలి అంటే వీ రిక్వైర్ యురానియం, బట్ వీ డు నాట్ హ్యావ్ యురానియం. మనం ఏం చేయాలి మరి? సో ద థింగ్ ఈస్ దాట్ వీ డు నాట్ హ్యావ్ యురానియం, బట్ వీ వాంట్ దిస్. వీ హ్యావ్ టు ఇంపోర్ట్ యురానియం. ఎవ్రీ టైమ్ వీ కెనాట్ ఇంపోర్ట్ ద థింగ్స్, and there are number of restrictions on uranium imports. We will be seeing them later on. Now, but we are having thorium. Thorium is also material which can be used in our country. We have huge amount of thorium reserves. Kani thorium ni use cheyadam konjam kashtam. Thorium is present in our west and eastern coast, mainly in Kerala. We are having a sand called as monazite sand. ఈ మొనాజైట్ శాండ్లోని మనకి ఒక 8 to 10% థోరియం ఉంటుంది. దిస్ థోరియం కెన్ బి యూస్డ్. కానీ ఈ థోరియంతో ప్రాబ్లం ఏంటి అంటే, థోరియం కెనాట్ బి యూజ్డ్ డైరెక్ట్లీ ఇన్ ది న్యూక్లియర్ thorium cannot be used directly in the nuclear energy. Thorium, say, in the nuclear we will be having two different type of materials. First is fissile material, second is fertile material. fissile material ante this can be used directly in the generation of nuclear power. For example, uranium 235. To generate nuclear power, what we will be doing? See, nuclear energy is nothing but energy which is stored in the nucleus of an atom. We might have studied in our childhood that in any atom, say hydrogen atom, carbon atom, uranium atom, in the center we will be having a nucleus. In the nucleus we will be having protons and neutrons. Around that we will be having electrons. The energy stored here which is helping in the this nucleus is called as nuclear energy. If we are breaking this, it will release that energy. That energy we will be using in this electricity, right? Now what we want to do, that for this to open or for this energy to be released, not all elements are suitable, only some are suitable. In them uranium, thorium, plutonium are some elements. అయితే ఇది అన్ని యురానియం, థోరియం, ప్లూటోనియం కూడా అంత ఈజీగా బ్రేక్ అయిపో. టు బ్రేక్ దమ్ వీ నీడ్ టు హిట్ ఇట్ విత్ ఏ న్యూట్రాన్. ఒక న్యూట్రాన్తో మనం హిట్ చేయాలి. ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్, వెన్ వీఆర్ హిట్టింగ్ యురానియం విత్ న్యూట్రాన్, వాట్ విల్ హ్యాపెన్? దిస్ విల్ బ్రోక్ డౌన్ ఇంటూ క్రిప్టాన్ plus barium. 3 neutrons will be released and 202 MeV of energy will be released. This energy will be converted into electricity. దానికోసం మనం ఇదంతా చేస్తున్నాం. Now this uranium is a fissile material. This can be directly used in this process. కాకపోతే మన దగ్గర యురేనియం రిజర్వ్స్ లేవు, మన దగ్గర థోరియం ఉన్నాయి. థోరియం ఈజ్ ఎ ఫర్టైల్ మెటీరియల్. అంటే ఏంటి అంటే, థోరియం cannot be used directly in this process, but this thorium is a fertile material which can be converted into fissile material and then it can be used in the nuclear energy. అర్థమైందా? సో thorium formula 232. This is not a fissile material. Only fissile material can be directly converted. Now we can turn this thorium into uranium 233. This is a fissile material. Now we can use directly, you can use this directly into nuclear fission. So thorium wala problem enti, this first we need to convert, then we can use this. ఈ ప్రాసెస్ కోసం ఎలా ఇంత ప్రాసెస్ ఉందని చెప్పి హోమీ బాబా సార్, a scientist had created a 3-stage nuclear power program for our country. అంటే న్యూక్లియర్ ఎనర్జీని ఎలా ప్రొడ్యూస్ చేయాలి అని చెప్పి లాంగ్ టర్మ్ ప్లాన్ కింద ఈ హ్యాడ్ గివెన్ 3 stages. ఫస్ట్ స్టేజ్లో మనం ఏం చేస్తామనంటే, ఇన్ ఫస్ట్ స్టేజ్ విల్ బి యూజింగ్ ప్రెషరైజ్డ్ హెవీ వాటర్ రియాక్టర్. న్యూక్లియర్ ఎనర్జీ ఇదంతా, ఈ బ్రేక్ డౌన్ చేయడం ఇదంతాను. హియర్ విల్ బి యూజింగ్ ది న్యాచురల్ యురానియం. ఈ న్యాచురల్ యురానియంలోని యురానియం 235 ఉంటుంది, ఇది బ్రేక్ అవుతుంది. వీ హ్యాడ్ సీన్ దట్ విల్ బి రిలీజింగ్ న్యూట్రాన్స్. థోరియంని U233 కింద మార్చడానికి మనకి ఏం కావాలి? న్యూట్రాన్. ది న్యూట్రాన్స్ ప్రొడ్యూస్డ్ హియర్ విల్ బి యూజ్డ్ హియర్. So the thorium which we are adding here, this can be converted into U233. This is the second stage. This U233 is an fissile material. This will be used in the stage 3 to produce the energy. Now until now we were in this first stage only. Since 1950s we were in the first stage only. For the first time we had reached this second stage 2 days back. The Hindu late ga report chesindi. This happened day before yesterday itself. Okay, now దీని కోసం we had launched this stage 2 in 2010. After 16 years we had achieved this. ఇక్కడ యూస్ చేసే రియాక్టర్ని ఫాస్ట్ బ్రీడర్ రియాక్టర్ అంటాము. అర్లియర్ వీ హ్యాడ్ బిల్ట్ ఎ ప్రోటోటైప్. నౌ దిస్ బికేమ్ ఏ రియాలిటీ. ఒకటి రియలైజ్ అవ్వడాన్ని మనం హియర్ వీఆర్ కాలింగ్ ఇట్ యాజ్ క్రిటికాలిటీ. ఓకే, బట్ ఎనీవే ఆల్ దీస్ విల్ బీ డిస్కసింగ్ ఇన్ వెరీ వెరీ డీటెయిల్. లోపల చాలా థింగ్స్ ఉంటాయి. దాట్ ఇట్ సెల్ఫ్ విల్ బీ హ్యావింగ్ టైమ్. We will discuss in more than 6 to 7 hours everything in detail. But as until now what you need to understand is that since we do not have uranium, we need to make efficient use of thorium. For utilizing thorium is a fertile material. First we need to convert that fertile into fissile. To convert fertile into fissile we need some neutrons. Neutron will be produced in this pressurized heavy water reactor. So the first stage outcome will be used in the second stage. Second stage product will be used in the third stage. So we are efficiently utilizing our thorium and uranium reserves. మన దగ్గర యురేనియం లేదని కాదు, చాలా తక్కువ ఉంది. ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ ఇన్ జాదుగూడ మైన్ ఇన్ జార్ఖండ్ వీఆర్ హ్యావింగ్ యురేనియం, ఇన్ తుమ్మలపల్లి ఫారెస్ట్ ఇన్ ఆంధ్రప్రదేశ్, ఇన్ కడప వీఆర్ హ్యావింగ్ యురేనియం, వీఆర్ మైనింగ్ దెమ్, బట్ ఇట్ ఈస్ వెరీ వెరీ లెస్. Okay, that is all about this Kalpakam fast breeder reactor. See, it is in Kalpakam. Okay, next Kalpakam is in Tamil Nadu. Bangladesh foreign minister comes to Delhi, he meets Dole, but anyway outcome ento inka they hadn't reported. We will see what will happen. This is meeting, that's all. Share of West Asia oil imports rose to 54% just before war. So basically ఈ వార్ స్టార్ట్ అయ్యే ముందు 54 ఫిబ్రవరి టైంకి our imports of oil from the West Asia, now you will be calling West Asia or Middle East? West Asia. Okay, now we had reached around 54%. Now see, we are importing mostly from Russia. Russia alone has the share of 35%. Okay, మిగిలిన వెస్ట్ ఏషియాలో ఉన్న అన్ని కంట్రీస్, ఒమాన్, యూఏఈ, సౌదీ అరేబియా, ఆల్ దీస్ థింగ్స్ టుగెదర్ ఆర్ ప్రొవైడింగ్ 54%. నౌ ఈ వార్ వల్ల ఇది తగ్గింది. ఓకే, నౌ see, you need not remember these values because this will be changing, right? So you need not remember them. What all the things you need to remember for your economy values? Exam మీకు మేలోని ప్రిలిమ్స్ అవుతుంది, ఆగస్ట్లోని మెయిన్స్ అవుతుంది. On Jan 31st of every year, government will be releasing a report called as economic survey. ఆ ఎకనామిక్ సర్వేలోని లాస్ట్ 1 yearలో ఏం జరిగిందో ఆన్ ఇన్ఫ్లేషన్, జీడిపి, ఫారెన్ ఇన్వెస్ట్మెంట్, దీస్ థింగ్స్ ఎవ్రీథింగ్ విల్ బి అఫీషియల్లీ రిలీజ్డ్ బై ది గవర్నమెంట్ ఆఫ్ ఇండియా. లాస్ట్ 1 yearలో ఏం జరిగిందని చెప్పి ఎకనామిక్ సర్వేలో Jan 31st వస్తుంది. February 1st నెక్స్ట్ 1 year ఏం చేస్తామని చెప్పి బడ్జెట్ వస్తుంది. సో యూ నీడ్ టు కోట్ ది వాల్యూస్ మెన్షన్డ్ ఇన్ ది ఎకనామిక్ సర్వే. ఎగ్జామ్లో అది మాత్రమే అడుగుతారు, బికాస్ దిస్ విల్ బి చేంజింగ్ రిపీటెడ్లీ, రైట్? అందులో ఏముందో అది మాత్రమే మనకు తెలియాలి. దోస్ విల్ బి పిక్ డైరెక్ట్లీ ఇన్ ది ప్రిలిమ్స్ అండ్ మెయిన్స్ ఆల్సో, రైట్? సో జస్ట్ యూ నీడ్ టు హ్యావ్ అన్ ఐడియా ఏం అవుతుంది ఏంటని చెప్పి, బట్ యూ నీడ్ టు రిమెంబర్ ద వాల్యూస్ విచ్ ఆర్ మెన్షన్డ్ ఇన్ ది ఎకనామిక్ సర్వే. ఏ కంట్రీ నుండి ఎక్కువ ఇంపోర్ట్ చేసుకుంటున్నాం, వాట్ ఆర్ ది మోస్ట్ ఇంపోర్టెడ్ ప్రొడక్ట్ అండ్ ఆల్, బికాస్ అఫీషియల్గా గవర్నమెంట్ ఇచ్చేదే కదా మనం గుర్తుపెట్టుకోవాలి. దట్ ఈస్ ద కేస్. IRDAI forms panel to review private health cover facets. Now basically who will be regulating banks in our country? RBI will be regulating banks in our country. Cooperative banks or regional rural banks will be regulated by an organization called as NABARD. Securities will be regulated by SEBI. Similarly, insurance industry, health insurance, life insurance, all the general insurance will be regulated by an organization called as IRDAI. Insurance Regulatory and Development Authority of India. Now, what is the meaning of a regulator? Regulator అంటే ఏంటి అంటే రూల్స్ పెట్టి ఆ రూల్స్ని ఇంప్లిమెంట్ చేసి ఆ రూల్స్ని ఫాలో అవ్వకపోతే వాళ్ళని పనిష్ చేసే ఆర్గనైజేషన్. బ్యాంక్స్కి ఆర్బీఐ రూల్స్ పెడుతుంది, అది ఇంప్లిమెంట్ చేస్తుంది. బ్యాంక్స్ సరిగ్గా ఉండకపోతే వాళ్ళని పనిష్ చేస్తుంది. ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్, రీసెంట్లీ ఆర్బీఐ హ్యాడ్ టేకెన్ ఎ ప్రాంప్ట్ కరెక్టివ్ యాక్షన్ ఆన్ లక్ష్మీ విలాస్ బ్యాంక్, రైట్? మిస్టేక్స్ ఏమైనా చేస్తే వాళ్ళ మీద పనిష్మెంట్ కూడా తీసుకుంటుంది. సిమిలర్లీ IRDAI ఈజ్ ది రెగ్యులేటర్. దిస్ ఈజ్ ఫార్మ్డ్ ఇన్ 1999. దిస్ ఈజ్ ఎ స్టాట్యూటరీ అథారిటీ క్రియేటెడ్ అండర్ IRDAI Act 1999. This has headquartered in Hyderabad. Not only headquartered, the only office of IRDAI is in Hyderabad. ఇంకెక్కడ ఇండియాలో దానికి ఎక్కడ ఆఫీసెస్ లేవు. ఓకే, okay, so these are the things majorly we need to see in today's newspaper. Understood? Yeah, thank you.